Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'll tell you something, folks. When I saw the latest General Hospital updates, I couldn't help but smile because this doesn't feel like one of those random soap coincidences. I've watched this show long enough to know that when two major arrivals happen on the exact same day, somebody behind the scenes is playing a much bigger game. Jason Morgan finally coming home after disappearing for months is already exciting enough, but adding a brand new character named Tristan Roberts into the mix on that very same day, well, that gets my attention in a hurry. The more I think about it, the less I believe this is an accident. Jason has supposedly been locked away by the WSB for months, and that's a hard pill to swallow, considering everything he survived over the years. Still, if anyone could end up in a secret prison because of dirty politics inside the WSB, it would be Jason. He's always been the kind of man who pays the price for somebody else's agenda. Seeing reports that he'll finally return to Port Charles on July 13 makes me think there's been a rescue mission happening behind the curtain all along. Now here's where things really get interesting. Tristan Roberts also makes his first appearance that very same day, and his name immediately caught my eye, naming him after the legendary WSB agent Robert Scorpio's longtime portrayer doesn't feel like something the writers would do just for fun. Lord have mercy. Soap writers love leaving little breadcrumbs for longtime fans, and this one feels too obvious to ignore. I keep asking myself, why introduce a mysterious new man with strong WSB ties at the exact moment Jason escapes captivity? That timing is just too neat. Then we have Valentine risking everything to travel to Geneva and meet the mysterious WSB leader known only as Z. That tells me the agency itself is falling apart from the inside. Brennan clearly believes only Z can clean up the dangerous mess involving Ross Cullum and Jen Sidwell, and if Valentine actually succeeds in reaching the right person, I can easily imagine the dominoes beginning to fall. Jason's freedom may not come from luck at all. It could be the result of powerful people finally deciding that Cullum has gone too far. Personally, I keep coming back to Tristan. If Cullum represents the corrupt side of the WSB, then maybe Tristan is the exact opposite. I can picture him being the honorable agent sent to fix the damage, the kind of man who still believes the badge actually means something. It would make perfect sense if he were the one who located Jason inside that secret WSB facility in Jakarta and personally brought him back to Port Charles. To me, that would be a fitting introduction for a character clearly meant to carry on part of Robert Scorpio's legacy. Another detail I can't overlook is Britt Westbourne. We're hearing that her first encounter with Tristan won't exactly be friendly, and honestly, that only strengthens my suspicion that he's working for the WSB. If Britt is facing extradition from Tortola, an agent would naturally cross paths with her. Sometimes General Hospital likes to introduce a character by putting them immediately into conflict instead of friendship, and I've seen that trick enough times to recognize it. At the end of the day, what excites me most isn't just Jason finally making it home. It's the possibility that his return opens the door to an entirely new chapter inside the WSB storyline. If Tristan really is one of the good guys, Port Charles may finally have someone willing to stand beside Brennan instead of working against him. And if that's true, I have a feeling July 13 won't simply mark Jason's return. It could be the day the balance of power inside the WSB starts to change for good. The more I sit here thinking about everything Jason has been through, the more convinced I become that the man walking back into Port Charles won't be the same man who disappeared months ago. Sure, he'll still have that calm personality we've always admired, and he'll probably still be willing to protect the people he loves without asking for anything in return. But experiences like being locked away in a secret WSB facility don't simply fade into the background. They change a person. They force someone to see the world differently. And I honestly believe that's exactly what we're about to witness. I've watched Jason survive kidnappings, shootings, betrayals, and enough close calls to fill a dozen lifetimes. But this situation feels different to me. This wasn't just another enemy trying to eliminate him. He was trapped inside an organization that's supposed to protect people. That's the part I just can't get out of my head. When the people wearing the badge become the danger, it makes you question everything. If Jason spent all those months watching corruption from the inside, then maybe he also learned how the WSB really works, both the good and the bad. Sometimes knowledge is the most valuable weapon a person can bring home. That's why I keep coming back to one possibility that I never would have considered a year ago. What if Jason doesn't return simply to reunite with his family and friends? What if he returns with a new purpose? Believe it or not, I can actually picture Jason becoming part of the WSB. I know that idea may surprise some fans, especially after everything the agency has put him through, but hear me out. Every organization needs people with integrity if it's ever going to recover from corruption. Jason has never been motivated by power or recognition. He does the hard jobs because someone has to do them. If the WSB is truly trying to rebuild after exposing agents like Ross Cullum, then Jason could become exactly the kind of person capable of restoring trust from within. And I'll tell you something else that really caught my attention. If Jason does choose that path, I don't think he'll be thrown into the deep end by himself. That's where Tristan Roberts starts making more and more sense to me. His arrival doesn't feel random anymore. It feels carefully planned. The writers are introducing him at the exact moment Jason returns, and I don't believe that's an accident for 1 second. In my mind, I can already see Tristan acting as Jason's guide through this unfamiliar chapter of his life. Not because Jason needs someone to teach him how to survive, but because every organization has its own rules, its own secrets, and its own way of operating. We've already seen how Vaughn helped shape Jocelyn into a capable agent. That relationship wasn't built overnight. It took patience, trust, and plenty of difficult lessons. I wouldn't be surprised if Tristan fills that same role for Jason, except in a very different way. Jason brings decades of experience, incredible instincts, and unmatched courage. But even the toughest people sometimes need someone to point them in the right direction. Tristan could become the steady voice reminding Jason which battles are worth fighting and which enemies are hiding in plain sight. Of course, if Jason really does become involved with the WSB, I can't stop thinking about Anna Devane. Out of everyone in Port Charles, she probably understands better than anyone what life inside that agency actually costs. Anna has devoted years of her life to intelligence work, and she's paid for it over and over again with heartbreak, sacrifice, and difficult choices. I imagine she'd feel proud knowing Jason wants to make a difference, but at the same time, she'd probably worry because she knows that once you enter that world, it has a way of changing you forever. That emotional conflict could create some incredibly powerful scenes between them, and honestly, I'd love to watch those conversations unfold. Then there's the bigger picture that has me even more excited. Everything we're hearing suggests that the WSB itself is finally going through a long overdue cleanup. Well, I don't know about anybody else, but I'd say it's about time. For too long, we've watched corrupt agents manipulate people, abuse their authority, and operate without consequences. If this storyline is really leading toward exposing those bad actors once and for all, then Jason and Tristan arriving together could symbolize a brand new beginning rather than just another twist in the plot. Sometimes an organization can't move forward until it cleans out everything that's been poisoning it from within. That's one reason I don't think Tristan is only here to rescue Jason or help with one mission before disappearing. I think he's here because the writers have bigger plans. If he stays in Port Charles working alongside Brennan and possibly Jason, we could be looking at an entirely new direction for the WSB stories. Instead of watching one crisis after another caused by corrupt leadership, maybe we'll finally see honorable agents rebuilding the agency the way it was always supposed to be. Now that's a storyline I can get behind. When I put all these pieces together, I don't just see Jason returning home. I see a man coming back with new knowledge, new scars, and maybe even a new purpose in life. I see Tristan stepping into a role that could become much more important than anyone expects. Most of all, I see the possibility that General Hospital is setting the stage for something much bigger than one dramatic rescue. It feels like the beginning of a fresh chapter where old heroes find new missions, trusted friendships are formed in unexpected places, and the WSB finally starts becoming the agency it should have been all along. Folks, if even half of these possibilities come true, I think we're in for one unforgettable summer in Port Charles, and I'll be watching every single minute to see how this incredible story unfolds.